What's up, y'all? Welcome to the On the Come Up podcast, where creative entrepreneurs share their come up journeys that turn their passions into success. I'm your host, Kimberly, so let's get started. What is up, guys? We are back with another episode. Today we are here with Alana Marie. She is a storyteller, filmmaker, podcaster, and she even wrote a book. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for coming out here. I know you drove a while, so I appreciate that a lot.
It was a straight shot this time, this early in the day, so it wasn't too bad, but it is a ways.
So for anyone meeting you for the first time, how would you usually describe what you do?
Ooh, my creative tagline is I love to highlight the stories of underrepresented people, places, and spaces. The medium in which I do that doesn't matter. It could be through filmmaking, photography, podcasting, writing. I just love storytelling. I love to pull out the why, the extraordinary within ordinary stories. That's what I like to do.
Oh, I love that. No matter like what it is, right? Whether it's visual or through photos, through podcasting.
I'm a lover of all forms of the arts.
I love that. How did you find your way into filmmaking?
What's the short of the long? So I am a former educator. I worked in education, and I also have a social work degree. So when I was in school pursuing my master's of social work, I was taking a course about systemic racism in East St. Louis. I'm originally from St. Louis. And my professor, Professor Kirkland, loved him dearly. He was an immersive educator. Like, he taught us by putting us in those places and letting us learn in real time. But we took a bus tour through historic places within the area that have been, destitute or just, left dormant, without resources, historically Black communities in St. Louis. And we went through one in the town of Kinloch, which is an all-Black suburb in St. Louis County. That's where my family is from. And we drove through there, and I'm like, I know my family's from here, but I wasn't born here. What happened to it? I wonder if somebody did a documentary on it. And I had posted a question on Facebook on October 28, 2016, and said, has anybody ever done a documentary on Kinloch? If so, where can I find it? And a friend of mine was like, well, why don't you just make one? And I was like, okay. And that's literally how that happened.
Oh, wow.
No previous experience.
So you just dove right in.
Yeah, YouTube University, Skillshare. I went into, that's the good part about being in grad school. I'm already in research mode. I'm already in a posture of wanting to learn. So I spent a great deal of time just kind of learning how to do the technical piece, because I know how to write. I have to write because I'm in school, but the filmmaking part, and I learned. So this journey started in 2016.
Oh, wow. So did you have to, did you buy a camera? Did you do it off your phone?
Yeah, so my husband bought me my first camera. It was a Canon Rebel T2i, because also at the time I had an online thrift and vintage store called May's Closet. So he bought me the camera so I could take pictures of my own, clothes. And how serendipitous, at the same time that I was getting ready to end my graduate program, there was a media production program that was launching. It was a nonprofit called Continuity, and they trained adults, people 18 and over, in the art of media production. And something was like, when I apply, I know I'm going to get in. It's like nothing cocky, but it was just too timely. And I got in, and it was a 9-month training program. We met once a week for 9 months, and they broke it down into 3 phases. And they taught me the technical aspects of filmmaking, the software to use when editing, how to hold the camera, how to keep things in focus, how to merge the content together, how to not marry the content. Like, that's where I got my basic foundation in that class, and with my Canon Rebel T2i.
So when you were filming, was it just something you were doing by yourself, or did you have a team? Did you have any help?
I started with my cousin at the time, my cousin by marriage. He was a videographer, and he was a part of the team in the initial stages. And of course, my husband is always playing in the background. But one of my instructors in continuity actually became my DP. So I created a short, like a 4-minute short, through that media training program that got into some festivals locally. And so it built a lot of buzz. And I was working at the university at the time, and I got my first grant from the university, and I got another local grant from the Arts Commission in St. Louis, and I used those funds to help pay him. And then it kind of took off. So it was just him and I.
Oh, wow.
Him and I, just a team of 2. And then eventually, once it got bigger, in those later years when I was working on the full project, I brought on a producer Corey and Cozart, and it was just us three.
So from the initial thought in 2016, how long did it take you to start filming?
Started researching in 2016, and then I went into informational interviews, because what I also learned within social work, especially when immersing yourselves in the world of those populations that have been marginalized, that have been, like the city of Kinloch, it's a long story, but the city of Kinloch's relationship to the media is very bad. And the institution I was going to at the time also has a bad reputation when it comes to marginalized populations. So I spent a lot of time building trust, 6-7 months building trust, having conversations before I ever pulled out a camera. So I started this in October of 2016. I didn't pull out a camera until April of 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It took a while.
So you were doing your research prior?
Yes, at the History Museum, at the library on my campus, the city library, meeting with people from the community. And of course, like, so my family is from there, but a lot of my family members that are from there are deceased. So it was a way for me to connect with family members that I hadn't been so close to. And then my dad is the youngest surviving sibling of the community, the people that were from there. And so I did a lot of research, because I wanted to do it right. I wanted to, if I'm going to come and ask people to sit down and share their life stories, I wanted to come with the right posture and approach, and knew what I was talking about. So it took a lot of research and a lot of time.
So I saw one of your reels, and you were talking about how you always saw this picture or this little boy, like everywhere you would go. So did you kind of like highlight him in the documentary?
So my dad is like the through line of the story.
Okay.
And just learning more about his upbringing, and it helps me understand him better. And so now a lot of my work, like, I have a affinity to like older people, like grandparents age older people. All of my grandparents are deceased, and so that was also a way for me to get connected to them, their stories, through this project too. But I just learned a little bit more about myself.
Oh, okay.
In healing my inner creative person. I've always been, this process helped me learn, like, this was always in me. I've always been an archivist. I've always been a documentarian. I would save receipts from when my family went out of town, just to show that I went out of town. Like, the first time I went to the beach, I brought back seashells. Like, before I even knew that this was an actual profession, I always appreciated the art of archival and documentation.
Do you watch documentaries like yourself?
Documentaries. I love documentaries. When I was younger too, I used to watch, I don't know why. I'm really 75 in a 35-year-old body. I would watch Lifetime on Sundays, like binge, 10, 11 years old. I would watch Unsolved Mysteries. I would watch the show Snap, like a lot of true crime stuff, I don't know. But just, I've always loved stories. But then even with documentaries, when I would tell people, like, I'm in school for social work, but I want to be a documentary filmmaker. And they're like, well, how does that work? I'm like, teachers use films to guide lecture. It helps teach the students who are visual learners, because I can watch a film and then I will go and find literature on it, not the other way around. Watching it makes me want to delve more into the topic.
That's how I am. I'll sit there and be like, okay, so what happened after this? I'll be Googling while the documentary's on, wanting to know more about it.
And we'll go down a whole worm before TikTok, before, the TikTok research, which I also appreciate for the people who just need, like, reel me in first. And then I will spend time reading articles on that same topic.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. Was the doc always the goal? Or
no, not at all.
It just landed?
I had being in school for social work at the time, because my emphasis area was children, youth, and families, because I was coming from education. I served in the AmeriCorps for 2 years prior to even going to grad school. And my passions within social work was, I had did an internship at the Ferguson City Hall. So I went to grad school after the death of Mike Brown. I was doing like a lot of like child support modification research, father support advocacy work. So I was a teen mom. I had my daughter at 19. So I did a lot of like family support research. So I was already immersed in those worlds. So in my mind, I'm either going to go and get a PhD, which a lot of people expected me to do, or be the director of a nonprofit, something still within education, because I was working at the university at the time that I was still in grad school. So that was the traditional plan. But I'm not a traditional person. So I struggled in going into my second year of grad school. And it was only 2 years. The first year, you're trying to figure it out. And then the second year, you're getting put out the door. And so with my professor, I was like, there's a lot that I don't remember about grad school, but the one thing I do remember, Professor Kirkland said, Alana, I don't worry about you because you're going to create your own job description. And so he allowed me to pursue like the research that I was doing for my film for class credit, because I was doing the legit work, and the spark to do this film was birthed in his class. So I ideated on, is it going to be a film? Do I want to do a podcast? Do I want to do like a mini zine? Like do I want to do a series? Like I went back and forth several times because again, the medium didn't matter. It just what makes the most sense for this specific project. And then I didn't just do the film. During the research, I learned that the city used to hold these fairs in the park to honor their incorporation. And in 2018, I learned it was the 70th anniversary of its incorporation. I was like, I want to do something in the park. And so I connected with, it's a group of former residents. They're older, they're deep in their 70s, that used to put together these events. It's the Kinloch Reunion Committee, and they will host these events every other year. And I found them, and we met over the course of 9 months and planned this festival in the park. And I learned how to grant write for sponsorships, and I got footage of that. So it's like I really became an honorary grandchild throughout this process that had absolutely nothing with the film. Now, will I do that for every project that I do? Mm-hmm. I hope not, because that took a lot of energy. It took a lot of time, and I immersed myself. Like I crossed a lot of boundaries as a filmmaker through that process. But to answer your question, it was not just that was not the plan, but it ended up being that way, and it made perfect sense in the end.
So would you say if it was a different story, do you think it would have been a documentary?
Ooh, yes, but I also had the idea to do like several series called Disappearing Black Cities, and I would highlight disappearing Black cities across the country. Like that was also something that I ideated on, but I had to think about what's my bandwidth, what's my capacity, how much work it took for me to do this one project. Can I see myself doing this all around? And I still might at some point, but yeah.
How long is the documentary?
54 minutes.
Oh wow, that's a
lot of footage.
Yeah,
that's a lot of footage condensed down to. It was a very tedious process. Very tedious.
And how long did it take to complete?
Started filming in 2017. I didn't wrap up my last interview until December of 2020, and I was the last interview, because another thing that I wrestled with was my mentor told me, he was like, Alana, people need to see the connection. They need to see the buy-in. Like, why should we care? And I toyed with that for so long, because I was like, I'm just the vessel. Like, I'm the person behind the camera. I'm piecing it together. Kinloch is not my story. I never lived there. But I was a conduit to connect everybody's story together. So I finally sat down for an interview in December of 2020, 3 years later. And then I finally finished it because we had a Kickstarter in May of 2020, and I raised $25,000 in 3 weeks to bring it to completion. So I sat down for an interview. I found an animator. I found a sound mixer. Like, I got into the weeds of actual like making this film, and we finished in August of 2021. But they say on average it takes about 4 to 5 years as an indie documentary filmmaker to bring it to completion. So I was on par as a first-time, ill-experienced filmmaker.
Wow, that's awesome though. Where can people watch it?
You can watch it. It's on YouTube. Just search the Kinloch doc, and it should come up. There's nothing else like it.
Yeah. How would you describe your work to someone who's never like watched a documentary before?
Oh, I would say it's very immersive and intentional, nostalgic. I just love learning about stories of the past. And again, I have an affinity to older people and their wisdom. I often say we're losing recipes, like literally, as people are passing away, and figuratively, which is how we move about in the world. Just bringing beauty into things that we tend to pass over day to day. So again, pulling out the extraordinary within ordinary stories. I think the most beautiful stories come from the most ordinary people, and finding the beauty in things that people find so simple.
Is that your only documentary? Or?
That's finished. So I'm currently in production of another documentary that I need to bring to completion as well. But it's called Theater Roxanne, and it's the story of a mom, also from St. Louis, whose child went missing over 20 years ago and who was never found. But the biological father was charged with the child's disappearance and declared murder just a few years ago. And so it's not a true crime. It's a story about how a mom has chosen to continue to live in spite of not knowing where her child is. Ironically, it's a story that I knew of. I remember his name is Christian Ferguson. I was 13 when he went missing, so he was 11. And it was a story that it just always stuck with me, because it's like, okay, nobody knows where he is, but it always in the back of my mind, I wonder, how is she doing? Like, as a mom, like, how do you continue to push forward? And when I was doing my research and finishing the Kinloch doc, I came across a news report of her, because she served as an interim mayor of Kinloch for a very short time. And when I saw that, instantly I was like, I wonder how she's doing. That's going to be my next project before I even finished the first film. And so this was also in 2021, and I had reached out to her because she's done news segments, she's done interviews, like it was a national story, but like nobody's had done like a film on her. And so I asked, was she interested? She said yes, but during the time the trial was still going on, and she's like, I don't want to do anything that could potentially jeopardize the trial. So that he ended up getting charged. So the father is in prison. But I reached back out, and she was like, okay, I'm ready. And so we begun production in July of 2024, so last summer. And I'm still in the weeds. It's harder because I was living in St. Louis when I finished my first film, but now I'm here. And so it's a little harder because I'm away, but I'm about 85% done with filming, and I just got to sort through my footage. But it's still, again, small team.
Just you and...
I have a producer, and I have a DP. It's an all-female team, and all women from St. Louis and East St. Louis. I wanted to keep this project like home. But they're both in St. Louis and East St. Louis. It's just taking a little longer, but I'm getting back to this podcast interview is going to hold me accountable to bring it to completion. Okay.
How do you stay creatively motivated in times of like slowness?
God is so faithful. There's moments like I'm constantly in a spiral of burnout all the time. And as somebody who, I worked in social, that was my full-time job. And so reaping the benefits of it, but also knowing that like it can be a dangerous game because you're constantly pulling yourself in. So I'm constantly battling burnout. But in the moments where I feel super, super depleted, he always brings me somebody to remind me of like the work that I'm doing, how it's impactful, how it resonates with people, how it sparks their creativity in things that they're doing. Like I've had students, high school students from my hometown that are just now finding my film, reaching out to me for their research projects, like, and they're learning about the community. Those moments are super edifying because I could not have chosen that myself. But that was also the premise of my first film, is to bridge generational conversations for the younger people who have never seen Kinloch, probably would never go there, knew nothing about it, and then the elders who are in their 70s and 80s, and bridging those conversations. That was also the premise of the film. But I always get a reminder, like it's a little nugget along the path of like, keep going, you're doing good. Take a break or steady your pace. You don't have to run, but don't stop. Just steady your pace, but don't stop.
So when it comes to like different ideas in storytelling, like you just wrote the book, was this like in the midst of doing your doc as well?
Yeah, and that's the problem. Yes. I have too many ideas, and I'm not going to say that it's not bad. It's just I get so excited, especially in the beginning stages. I don't want to do all the things right now at this very moment. But so the book, again, was not the original plan. So the concept of the book, At Their Feet, was something that I developed in 2021. 2021 was my golden year. Like, that was my golden year. I had applied for a job, and it was the assessment for the job of a project that I would produce should I get the job. I did get the job, but I never was able to do that project. And the deck just sat in Canva for 4 years. And earlier this year, in January of this year, I came across a residency for DeSoto, DeSoto Artist Lab, and I said I want to pursue this. Like I want to breathe life into this. So I opened up the deck in Canva and spruced it up a little bit. And so the concept of At Their Feet was to document local elders, take their portraits, do their interviews, and I was going to do like an immersive exhibit. I was going to like have their audio playing when you click on a QR code for like an exhibit. And then I was like, I ended up getting a job, and I'm like, I had to scale back on what this could look like. And so I ended up getting awarded the residency. I'm going to turn it into a book. That's how that was not the original plan. The concept was the same, but the output changed over time. And another thing I did, I tend to underestimate the impact of my work. So with the residency, I ended up getting published the amount that I just wanted. I was like, I'm going to give everybody who participated a book. I'm going to give the city officials a book. I'm going to give some family members a book. But then people are asking me like, Alana, where can I buy the book? And I was just like, oh, I didn't think about that. Because in my mind, the book is the completion of the residency, not its own standalone project and concept. So I tend to underestimate the impact of my work. So now I had to buy some more books.
So you made it like, what do they call it? Like a hardback?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I had my first book signing, which is crazy to me, on January 3rd at DeSoto Library from 10 to 12. Yeah.
Is it this January coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
2026. Huh?
Exactly. There's a lot going on over these ways.
So when you have all these ideas, right, are you writing them down, or are you like,
yeah,
because you're digging into them, right? Obviously you did the book, so
yeah.
Meanwhile,
my Google Drive is a mess of ideas, and I'm a voice note girl. Like if I have a concept or an idea and I want to collaborate with somebody, I'll send a voice note and be like, wow, this is in my mind and my spirit. We don't have to do this right now, but I'm just telling you just because I got to get it out. I am that person. Yeah, but I'm very spontaneous. I like to do things abruptly, and I'm learning how to scale it back.
So how do you navigate which creative like project you want to do meanwhile after you finish one? Because you feel like you're not done yet, right?
Yeah.
So like how do you navigate to what's next?
I don't know if I'm doing it successfully. I would say what's been the case this year at least is like what do I have access to in the moment? So at the end of 2024, no, the end of 2024 was when the podcast idea came about. And that's my husband's idea. He literally was like, you and Keisha start a podcast. So that wasn't even my idea. I just kind of jumped on and was like, actually, I like it. But understanding like him and I are the ones that are filming it and shooting it and editing it. So I have that bandwidth and capacity because it's us. So that kind of became to the forefront. And I had time. Like I had time and momentum. Like when momentum builds, it makes it easier to stick to it because it's like that gives me the energy to keep it going. And people have to give me deadlines. Like when I finished the Kinloch doc, I set a deadline. No, when I did the rough draft of my first film, I did a public screening and I set the date for the public screening before I was ever done to force me to get to a place to where I would feel comfortable with people seeing it. I think that's what I'm going to have to do with this second project. I got to set a date to where people see it, and that forces me to sit down and get it done.
Yeah, because you said with the second doc, you're like 85%. So you're almost there.
Almost there.
Yeah.
I'm playing. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. Yeah, it's me.
What does success look like to you?
What does success look like to me? I don't know. Immersing in a world of creativity, and I don't know. I guess it's like the opposite of the American dream. Like not necessarily hitting milestones, but like finding fulfillment and edification in executing your gifts and enjoying the process throughout. Like I did the things. I'm a first generation college student. I got 2 degrees, even with me having my daughter young. So I hit the milestones. And then you get into those places and then you see what's going on in the economy and how it's impacting you. And then you're just like, don't none of this really matter? Like what fuels me? What am I passionate about? How can I help people? How can I support people? How can I encourage people? And then bringing your gifts to the forefront to do those things. Like I love storytelling, I love photography, I love filmmaking, but I know it's not just checking off a list of this is what Alana enjoys doing. Like it is impactful, it's touching people, it's sparking interest in other people. So I would say living out the gifts that have been poured into you and igniting that spark in somebody else to do what they're supposed to be doing. And hopefully making enough money to sustain yourself to be able to keep it going.
Yeah, I love that. What would you say right now is like from photography, podcasting to filmmaking to writing a book? What is the top on the list?
Of what I enjoy? Or
what you enjoy, or what you're like currently, what do you give your most to, like your energy to?
Probably photography, because it's the one that I've been doing the longest. Actually, today is my 6-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know if you're familiar with like the Humans of series, or like Humans of New York, or Humans of, it's a photo, a docu-photo project that started in New York, and the founder of Humans of New York, he would go out to the streets of New York and stop everyday people and take their portraits and interview them, and then he created a Facebook page where he would transcribe the interviews with their pictures of just everyday people, and it blew up. Humans of St. Louis is second to that, and the creator of Humans of St. Louis also went to the same grad school as me. She was there before me, Lindy Drew, and she's a photographer, and she taught me that December 19th of 2019, she took me out to the streets of St. Louis and just kind of showed me she showed me the art of interviewing. She showed me the art of portraiture just in real time and making people feel seen and heard through photography. So she taught me that 6 years ago today. And that's what I've been doing the longest. And then from there, it became like, okay, I have this camera. Cameras are expensive. I want to know what every button on this thing does. And that's how I also got into filmmaking, is because I had the tech. So photography, filmmaking. My mom always told me I had a book in me. I was like, I'm not about to sit down and write no book. Like, and even with this book, like, I'm the curator. I'm the curator of the stories. But eventually I do see myself writing, like, from my own words, my own book, and then podcasting, because it's fun, it's work, but it's like I don't have any expectations of it. It's just another creative outlet to. There's no expectations. Like, if we decided to stop tomorrow, which we're not, but like there's no, we have to do this to get to the next thing. It's like, no, out of all of these things, this is the place I get to let my hair down, and it's work because we have to edit it. But yeah,
but it feels the most free.
Yes, for sure.
What advice would you give to creatives who feel pulled in multiple directions but don't want to choose one?
You don't have to choose one holistically. You just may have to choose one today. So me and Key, my podcast host, we had like a prayer session yesterday with the poster boards about what we did this year, successes that we had this year, and what we want to do in 2026. And what I came to was like, I don't want to do anything new in 2026. I need to sit down and give the projects that I've breathed life into this past year the proper time, care, and attention so it can live out its full potential. And as somebody who is addicted to new car smells, that's what I call it. Like, you still got to drive the car even when the new car smell fades. Like, you still have to drive the car. And I get so excited about the beginning stages. Even when it doesn't feel exciting anymore, I still have to honor it. So I would say that is like, you have all of these ideas. I've been called scatterbrain all my life from previous mentors and all the things. And I'm like, but it has not left me, but I have to have the agency to hone it in a way that makes sense to where I'm not depleted. So right now the commitment is I need to finish this film. Like, I know I can set a deadline for that. The podcast is going to be ongoing, and that's the one that's the most flexible. The book is done, but now I want to turn that into an actual like video project. I want to go around and document and interview elders all across the region and turn that into an actual visual project. And I am, when my doc is done. So it's bringing priority to the projects and understanding, yes, you can do all the things, you just don't have to do them all right now. Give your projects the proper amount of care and attention, so they can flourish and so they can start working for you. That way you can comfortably move on to the next project because you've got that other one into a place that it can sustain on its own.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I need to take my own
advice. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey. I love that you're dipping your toes into everything, and they all connect in a way, though.
Yeah, for sure.
For your social work, I wanted to ask, like, is that something you're ever going to go back to, or are you just going to be like creative?
Honestly, I feel like I'm still doing social work. I love like highlighting the stories of underrepresented people, places, and spaces, and using storytelling to help mitigate the social ills of the world. Like I think about films that have like pushed for legislation and policy. Like art really is a reflection of life, and when done intentionally and impactfully, it can really make change. And so using my storytelling gifts to educate people who may not have access to go to a grad school program and to learn about things. Like they learn through life. They learn by coming to a video screening. And so for me, I say I'm still social working, just don't have the formal credentials behind it. But it took me going to grad school. It took me getting that training. It took me getting connected with Professor Kirkland and my peers who I'm still connected to. Like all of that had to happen in order for me to flourish in this space.
Yeah. Because or else, I mean, that's what led you here.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, let everybody... Oh, actually, sorry. We're going to do a this or that.
Okay.
Long-term project or short form?
Short.
Short?
Yeah.
Writing alone or collaborating with the team?
And there's another problem. I say both a lot. My husband's trying to get me out of it. I'm like, both. But in this season, collaboration.
Pre or post-production?
Pre.
One big passion project or multiple?
Multiple.
Yeah, we already know that, right?
Of course. Multiple. Yes.
Okay, now let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram and Threads. Those are my two favorite platforms at I am Alana Marie, IAMALANA MARIE. You can also find me on Substack. I think my user handle is still there for the same. I am Alana Marie. TikTok, I am _Alana Marie because somebody stole my name. And my website at www.IamAlanaMarie.com.
I love that you said Threads because I've been on, like, I'm trying to post more, but I've been using that religiously, and I was just
that's
like,
my jam.
I was just like, y'all are missing out if y'all aren't Threads because
Threads.
that's how I found you.
Yes. Threads is my jam. Yeah. That's another platform that like that is me. Like if you want to see the real me in my rants, Threads is the place to go for sure. TikTok used to be that, but TikTok started treating me poorly with like 2021, I went from 0 to 30,000 followers on TikTok, and I have not experienced that much growth on a platform since. Like TikTok just said, okay, you had your fun, you're done. I'm in like the 200 view range, but Threads is, I don't know, we're getting the Twitter incels over there as of late, but the community building aspect on Threads has been, I don't know, priceless. I love it.
Yeah,
I do. Before the ads get on there.
Right. I know, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much, and we will see y'all next year.
Happy New Year.